And that's the thing, have a look at a belief. A belief's not the actual. The definition of belief in the dictionary is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. It means we haven't reasoned it out, we've taken it for granted. Acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. So when you put your belief to that test, they'll fall apart. And they say the false can't stand up to investigation. Well, it can't. You've seen that so many things you believed in, you've investigated, and you see they weren't true. But you can't negate your own being.
And everything else you can. So it is really basically discarding what is just a belief, what is not the actuality. Not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the thought, you're not the feeling, you're not whatever. What are you left with?
Welcome to Letting Go and the Greatest Secret, where we explore the end of your suffering and the beginning of lasting happiness. I'm Hale Dwoskin, and today I'll be speaking with Sailor Bob and Kat Adamson. Sailor Bob was a featured teacher alongside me in Rhonda Byrne's book, The Greatest Secret. Starting in 1976, Sailor Bob spent 12 months with Nisargadatta Maharaj in Bombay, India. Since this time, thousands of seekers from all over the world have come to his home in Melbourne, Australia, for individual sessions and to join regular group meetings. Kat Adamson met Bob in 2013 and was done seeking after their first individual session in 2015. She has been pointing to truth with Bob since 2016. I actually wanted to start, if you're okay with it, just finding out a little about how it was for you being with Nisargadatta. I know it was a long time ago, but whatever you feel moved to share about that.
Well, there was something about him that you couldn't help loving the man. And you're very comfortable to be with. It just felt right, just felt right. And hearing what he was saying was resonating with it, being recognised. But people say he was an angry man, but he wasn't angry. He'd wave his arms around a bit and yell a bit. But
Passion.
Yeah. Couldn't be upset with him.
Would you like to share that memory when you were leaving and he actually organized a little farewell dinner or picnic, or what was it? That was just so sweet. I remember he was telling me that. They both cried. That's just so sweet. They became such a dear friends.
I'd love to hear that if you're okay with that, Sailor Bob.
Well, that's all there is to it. Any elaboration or any more saying to it, well.
Okay.
Everything was so natural, just as it was, as it is, Well,
yes.
And he called you Bhishma. Why Bhishma?
He put that label on me.
Yes.
Lovingly.
Bhishma was one of the, I don't know one of those things. He was a warrior or whatever he was. Anyway, he had so many arrows in him that when he fell over, he was propped up by the arrows and sticking into him. He's supposed to have lived 6 months like that. And the Nisargadatta would say, I was like Bhishma, had to put all the arrows in me. Make me see, I understand what he was saying.
Yes.
I thought I knew a little bit at that time, and I've been with Fernanda for quite a while. But everything I'd say, no matter how profound I thought it was, he'd knock it out from under me.
Right.
Left me with nothing, with the reality. That
Well,
is the no thing.
yeah, that's a fortunate thing to be left with. So, and how has that was many decades ago. How has your experience of that which you were left with changed since then? Has it changed, or is it just been steady? Or
It's like everything in its manifestation. It's all changing all the time,
yes,
constantly changing. There's nothing static anywhere. And yes, say it one way and it'll come up in another way. And so it goes on.
yes,
And the old habitual patterns and that continue to be seen through and dropped away. Don't have to do anything about them to get rid of them, because that'll be fighting with him,
yes,
And that'll be the struggle. It'll be still mental stuff. It's leaving it as it is, and what comes up is recognised or heard or seen, wherever it comes from. What resonates is the actuality. You're never away from it, really. Even though all the concepts and ideas still come up and still appear, it's all the same stick. I call it a one-ended stick. There's no stick with one end. Each got two ends to it. And so we separate it when we think, put the good, bad, something like that. We think of two different things. We want to rid of the bad and love the good, But if it's the same stick, from one end to the other, it's just as it is. It's all right. Don't have to put the conceptual belief into it anymore that this is bad. It's just like in nature, day and night, winter, summer, it's still the same thing, but it's vibrating into different patterns, shapes and forms.
So when you talk to people and they talk about their sticks, is there, what happens to help them see that those sticks aren't real?
Well, who or what is saying it? As I tell you, Advaita, non-duality, it's not two. And it's one without a second. There can't be one without the other. Point them back to see, like as if you go to the South Pole, how much further south can you go? The next step will be north, the same at the north. The next step was, where do they meet? Well, they must meet at the equator. Why would they put that term on? Because it's equal. And so when the mind vibrating from good and bad, pleasant, painful, happy, sad, and you're not fixating on it, keeping it there, it's free to move. And there is no thought stitched in your head. There's no cloud that's fixated over the sun. They come and they go. And the cloud seemingly obscures the sun. But you know that the sun has never been obscured. And that's why the false can't stand up to investigation. When you investigate all these concepts that we have, they fall away. And you're left with the actuality, the presence awareness, the equator, the equilibrium. Those things still vibrate, come and go. But there again, they say, know the truth. The truth will set you free. What are you free of? You're free of the beliefs that there's a person, there's a separate entity. There's nothing there. But life is what we are. And there is only life, as Nisargadatta says. There's nobody who lives alone. And life lives on life. For out of life, more life comes. So it's constantly transient. Not appearing. Nothing ever changing, but never changing like the ocean.
That's beautifully put. As usual. I've been I found out about you, I think it's going on 15 years ago, and I've been quoting you in my seminars for most of that time because I love the way you express truth. It's beautiful.
Yes, I know that you've been clever, but I hear it from many, many people.
Really appreciate it. You just being you is and just amazing. So, Kat, I wanted to ask you something. How is it for you being with Sailor Bob?
Today is our wedding anniversary, by the way.
Oh, congratulations! Congratulations! Happy anniversary!
Thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. From the day one when I realized that there was no self, like he didn't ask me if there is anyone there, but he basically just, I came with my two-ended stick with my dramas and my troubles, and just basically simple investigation, not just who is it happening to, but who do I think I was? And it kind of revealed that there was no one there in particular. It was just witnessing consciousness in which the good and bad and pleasure and pain all happen. And since then, we started a friendship, and then it came deeper, and then we ended up having a wedding anniversary today. And living with him is I have no words, is the easiest, most profound, light, beautiful, joyous, funny, sweet, easy, effortless experience one could ever imagine. I mean, we were both at the point in life that 6 years ago where neither of us really wanted the relationship at all.
Yes.
And everything was added onto it. The moment you find the kingdom is within, and there is no within and no without. Everything's been added. And that friendship, which matured to the really kind of, one could say I was laughing in the morning and we're almost codependent. We always together. Love it because it is really one reflecting in two. There is no two. When I'm the consciousness and he appears within me, so he is the love of my life, and it works both ways. So yes, it's that's really, really effortless. I mean, you were asking, Bob, whether it matures. The space does not, but the old conditioning fades.
Yes.
The opinions, the preferences, the judgments, they fade. They used to be important. They used to be mine. And now they are laughable. Like, I can't take positions. I used to be really devoted vegan, for example, or whatever the opinions. They all now just stories, just something, waves and vibrations happening in the field of conscious awareness.
Yes.
And nothing else.
Yes, beautifully put. That's been my experience too. You don't really have to work to get rid of what you're not.
Yes.
A lot of people do a lot of work on that, but it doesn't.
All because they have an idea that they are not what they are.
That's right.
They want to become.
And the knowing that, you can see it in you, it's recognized, resonating through you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's. I feel very fortunate to just be. I was going to make a whole story up about it. Just feel very fortunate just to be. Nothing else needs to be added to that. So, when people come to you, and which I know they do, when people come to you and they haven't yet seen how simple this is, how natural and open this is, what is something that you often say to people that helps them jog their memory, or it's not really a remembrance, but helps them see that which they truly are.
Well, it all depends what they come with and how, you take it from what's being said at the time,
Yes.
You see a little gap or something like that, you can dive in and look at this and see if it's so.
Yes.
Spontaneous.
Yeah.
But I really like because I know it's difficult to actually come from the memory. In the particular situation, he always comes up with the beautifully customized response. I actually like more sometimes he wears the headphones, so I don't hear the other side. But
Yes.
I'm cooking dinner and I hear his responses to people, like one-on-one when he has Skype sessions. Very often, a simple question: are you unaware right now? No, I'm not unaware. Okay, so you must be aware. Are you not existing? Oh yeah, I'm existing. Would you rather be dead, or are you happy to be? Oh yeah, I'm happy to be. And then he says, well, that's it. Satchitananda is reality. Being, consciousness, belief, that's reality. Nama Rupa, which means name and form, the costume that I wear, the beliefs that I have about myself, the name, the body, that's Maya, that's illusion. You are Satchitananda already. You're already existing, you're already conscious, and you're already happy to be at this moment. So
Yes.
what else do you want? And that usually stops them in the, but what if, when I go home, or when this happens? No, wait, stay. What
Yes.
about now? What's wrong with right now?
Yes.
That is the nice one, because it comes with everything. What's wrong with right now if you don't think about it? The future, the past, all of it has to be thought about to even exist.
Yes.
And add to it, Dan?
It's all words, language.
Yes.
How many words were you born with? And you weren't born with any words, so how can you say you were born without words? Because you lived for the first couple of years of your life before you learned words. So you're prior to words, you're prior to the mind, prior to thought. So, can't negate that beingness. Can't say I am not. And if you use the term God, you can believe in God, or whatever label you like to put on it. But can you negate your beingness? We call God the supreme being. You call yourself a human being. Take away the label of human, take away the label of supreme, try and separate the beingness right now without the word. You can't say I am not. Or you can say it as many times and as loud as you like, but what's enabling you to say it? Must be the life itself. That's what Christ told you. I'm the way, I am the truth, I am the life. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about that intelligence energy that was patterning, shaping, and forming, expressing through the body. It is the life. Nisargadatta tells us there's only life. There's nobody who lives a life, and life lives on life. Take the life out of that body, you've got a corpse. Before it rots, it's still got eyes, ears, heart, lungs, and all the organs are there. But what good are they to without the life? Just like the analogy of a computer, it's got all that information in it. But if the power's not turned on, what are you going to get out of it? If that life's not in the body, what are you going to get out of it? Nothing. So you must be the life. And life is nothing but intelligence energy and the activity of knowing. A vibrating pattern. Vibrates as sound, words, thoughts, ideas, images. All vibrating pattern of energy.
Yes.
And life lives on life. Out of life, more life comes. There is only life, as Nisargadatta says. There's nobody who lives a life. No body, no mind.
Right.
It's life itself.
Yes.
You are that. And that's the great mantra. I am that. Innately we know that, because so that's the chair you're sitting in, that's the room we're in, that's the space. Everything is that which was discriminated with the word. In Hensing Min, it says The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. When love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart. And it goes on to break it down. And in the last verse it says, words. The way is beyond language. It's prior to language. For it, there's no yesterday, no tomorrow, and no today. They're all words. And the word is not the real. Try and drink the word water, swim in it, drown in it. There's a word fire burn your mouth. You cook with it, you can't. And we lived for the first couple of years of life without any word. So you're prior to mind, you're prior to thought. That living is good. Where does all life come from? That pattern, shape and form. It was your father, enabled in that pattern, shape and form through the essence of the food and the breath, and they were a little microscopic particle called an egg to form, a sperm. That sperm was suffused with intelligence. It knew what to do. The same with the mother, the same life energy is patterning through it, formed an egg or an ovum. That ovum was suffused with intelligence. It attached itself to the wall of the uterus. And the sperm, being full of intelligence, swam to the ovum. And when those two came together, what happened? The intelligence energy doubled it, and the little embryo began to form. That's what we are today, that little embryo. It needs a vehicle to express through. So it's this pattern, shape and form we express through. This is the mouthpiece. As I say, this mouth is breaking down. It won't be around for much longer.
It must.
Right.
And it wouldn't have been here if it hadn't met Nisargadatta. It had been gone long ago.
Yes. So Nisargadatta talks about, let's see if I can remember the quote. I don't know if I can remember it exactly, but he talks about that which is beyond even beingness. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, when you look at it, it's all based on the words. Again, they say is what's appear in the basic screen, which everything appears in, is space, silence, stillness, emptiness. So emptiness is no thing. And you and I and everything else in this manifestation are things. The chair's a thing, the table's a thing, I'm a thing, you're a thing, which we've discriminated with the label. But it's all appearing in space. Can you postulate anything outside of space? What would it be in? You can't. Space is no thing. Can something come from no thing? It can't. So the space, like it's these pattern shapes we formed and forms we're expressing through, are still that no thing, appearing as something. But the word, again, is making it there. Without the word, it just is. What is unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected, no preference, no partiality, no comparison. Just is.
Yes. So, it's, again, words drop away, but I'll do my best. Is there anything, this might seem silly because there's really nothing to do, but how can we cooperate with this as it unfolds? Because again, you can't really bring it about. It's already here. It already is. It's already real. It already is what we are. But is there anything we can do to cooperate with this? Or is that just adding more, a layer that's not necessary?
Well, anything, that beautiful saying in the Tibetan Buddhist thing, let it rest in its uncontrived singularity. It's only a singularity. It's only the one essence. Not contriving it by putting in any concepts. Just relax. Relax and be. What's wrong with right now if you don't think about it? You can't say anything about it, but you haven't stopped breathing. Your heart hasn't stopped beating. Your hair and fingernails and food being digested, it's all functioning. It's going on spontaneously, naturally, and effortlessly. Just relax and let it be. See that. But I, as a so-called person, where does person come from? The word persona, the mask. We've got a conceptual image about ourselves, a mask we take to be real. So take the mask off. What are you? You are that pure essence, pure reality, pure being, and being will never be becoming. So we think we're going to become something. We're looking for the answer in the mind. But show me your mind. There's no such thing as mind apart from thought. Thought's what? Thought, vibration, sound, word. So it's just still that same intelligence energy that's vibrating, experiencing, expressing through all these matters. It's only that. That is the chair, that's the table, everything is that. That's this body, that's this mind, which was discriminated with the word. When we had no words, you were still living quite well. That points out that you are prior to thought, prior to the mind. If you're prior to the mind, what are you? Well, the only labels you can put on your being and your knowing and your loving to me. You're not separate, non-duality, not two. They're all words, discriminate.
I sometimes also hear when people ask, what do I do? And of course, if there is no doer, if there is no one to do anything, like that's the question is kind of baseless. But
Yes, totally.
Bob sometimes lovingly answer to people, well, what do you do? Get yourself out of the way and see where life will take you. Not that there is you that can take you out of the way. There is
right.
two now, and they're both conceptual, they're both phantoms, but it's just a loving saying, like, relax, get yourself out of the way, just don't bother with that conceptual image.
That's what they say. They say, oh, that's ignorance. And we take on that, oh, we're dull or stupid, we're ignorant, we don't know. But they don't mean that at all. I mean, we are ignoring our true nature and focusing into this conceptual image. So stop ignoring what you actually are. You can't negate your own being. Don't have to try and get something. That's what we're saying. We think we're going to become. Becoming can never be being. Being can never become, because becoming implies a future time. And when you look into time, you see time's a mental concept also. Is there a past if you don't think about it? No. But you'll say, I was in the past. Well, try and live a moment ago. Try and live yesterday. You can't. You can recall it. And the only actuality you're giving is what you're recalling right now. Because you can't tell me what you thought a minute ago now unless you recall it. And you can anticipate and imagine the future, but you can't live in the future. The anticipation and imagination is going on right now. So we've never moved away from this presence awareness, only conceptually.
So it's all the matter of recognition. Recognize that you are already here, you're already being, you're already conscious. Even when you're fantasizing and daydreaming about tomorrow or yesterday, you do it here and now.
Yes. That's what the Buddha called the cognizing emptiness. We think we are cognizing emptiness. It's not. It's the emptiness itself. It's fused with that intelligence engine that's doing the cognizing. And he made the statement then that emptiness is form. And form can be nothing other than the emptiness. So it's all the one essence.
Yeah, that's sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you pointed out yourself too. So.
Yeah, that's where, when I work with people, that's one of the places people get hung up, is they're living this direct life, knowing, often knowingly, but the habit to go back to the pattern of believing you're a separate individual keeps coming up until it doesn't.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Have a look at the belief. A belief's not the actual. The definition of belief in the dictionary is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Means we haven't reasoned it out. We've taken it for granted. Acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. So when you put your belief to that test, they'll fall apart. And they say the false can't stand up to investigation. Well, it can't. You've seen that so many things you believe in, you've investigated, and you see they weren't true. But you can't negate your own being.
And everything else you can. So it is really
Right.
recognition is a matter of discarding. Basically discarding what is just a belief, what is not the actuality.
Yes.
Not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the thought, you're not the feeling, you're not whatever. What are you left with?
But the other thing I find, though, is that we start out negating, and then as we recognize that which is left over, we realize that even those things that we were negating were simply appearing as that as well. There's no separation even there. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's only one, so it can't be anything separate. That is not it.
Right.
Vibrates to different forms, like he was saying, emptiness is form. It vibrates and creates sound. It vibrates a little bit a different vibe, and it creates light. Yet different vibe, and you've got subatomic particles and the matter, solid. But it is all vibration of the same one pure potentiality. And vibrates as a body, and you are that. So you are that body and everybody and every particle of matter and every sound and every thought and everything.
Yes.
Beautiful thing that Nisargadatta says. Nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. Break that word imagination down to imagine. Imagine. And see, that's what we're doing. We're creating conceptual or mental images all the time, taking them to be real. Look in a mirror. What you see in a mirror is images or reflections. You can't say they're not there. But you go up and try and grab a reflection out of the mirror.
Right.
Can't say it is there. So you can't say it is or you can't say it isn't. So that's how it's all going on.
And that's actually collapses the paradox, because what you said, Hale, that you discard everything. I'm not it, I'm not that, I'm not that. And ultimately the complete experience is that there is no separation. So I can't say that I'm not this. I can only say that I'm not this exclusively.
Yes,
because
yes.
As Bob was saying, everything is empty. Everything is just a reflection. So the emptiness, the cognizing emptiness, even the most solid piece of matter is actually empty. Not only it doesn't have any independent nature, it is interdependently arising with everything else. So it is actually, it can't stand of its own, but it is also empty. Its nature is empty. So if I am nothing and everything else is also nothing, then I am everything else.
Yes.
Because it is all nothing, and then the everything and nothing collapse into one.
Yes.
Nisargadatta had this beautiful quote. You remember about the everything and nothing? That quote, when I know I'm nothing, this is wisdom, and when I'm everything, this is love. And it flows between, it moves. Because nothing is static. Every experience is fleeting.
It's all transient.
Even to experience being nothing, you have to have the reference point of being everything. And that, he says, the life flows between the two. Love is action, is movement, is energy vibrating, and nothing is energy stillness. Shiva Shakti.
Right.
That's where we make the mistake. We say, think nothing, and we think it's vacuum, zero, zilch, a void, but it's no thing. And you and I and everything else in this manifestation are things. Very to be so, but everything is the no thing, and the no thing is the everything.
Right. Again, not two. So, how do you see death?
How do you which?
Death. How do you perceive death? Laughable impossibility.
There's no such thing as death.
Yes.
Out of life, more life comes. When this body, the life essence goes out of it, what happens? Bacteria form, or the maggots or the germs will start to eat it, or it'll get burnt and whatever. But where does it go to? Where did it come out of? Space. Can you postulate or think of anything at all outside of space? Space is empty. It's not a vacuum or a void, but it's no thing. It's a cognizing emptiness. It's an emptiness that's fused with intelligence energy, which is nothing. Can something come from nothing? It can't. So where does the rain, when the sun, when its radiance evaporates the water, it rises and forms a cloud which seemingly obscures the sun. And when the sun either cools it down, or brings it down as rain, or disperses it, where does it all go back? Came out of space, goes back into space. The water that comes down runs into the river or the ocean. Can you think you're going to get the same drop out of it again? No. But to see it goes, and if everything, nothing you can postulate or think of comes out of space, it all must be the content of space. Space is empty. And you're formed out of space. Where do you go back in? The pattern, shape and form might break down, but that which formed it goes back into the space again. And you think you get the same drop of water out of the ocean, you won't. So this sort of thing about reincarnation is a lot of crap.
Right. Well, very succinct.
Sailor's language. He is a sailor. He was a sailor.
Yeah.
You're not fearing your own departure or dissolution of the physical form, and you're not fearing death.
No, can't. How can you fear something that you know you've never been away from?
Mm.
You've been that life. There's only life. There's nobody who lives in life. No. But at all, have a look at all of the thing. We've got this concept of me or I. Me, and you realise just believe in me. Something comes up and you like it. How do you know? Well, I've had it before. And we don't want the things we like to go. We want to keep them there, not realising they're transient. No matter how much you love them, how much you want to keep them there, they're going to move on. We don't want it to go on. So what do? We resist it from going, trying to keep it there. We've got to hang on to this. And don't you realise resistance is conflict? You're in conflict. You're fighting with it, trying to keep it there. And conflict makes you unhappy, uneasy. And that uneasiness or unhappiness is dis-ease. So there's resistance, conflict, and disease. Something comes up you don't like. Oh, I shouldn't be thinking that. That's a bad thought. I don't want that. So what do? We resist it, try to push it out. Then the conflict again, and then the disease. That's what's going on in all our life. Instead of recognising the innate essence, intelligence in it as appearing as an end, we're putting the concepts on and trying to shape them. So you see from that me, the belief in the me, is the cause of all my problems. It's only me that can be unhappy, me that can be fearful, me can be anxious or depressed or guilty. Me is the cause. And the effects are what comes up from that, the anger, the fear, the depression, the guilt. Isn't that what so-called karma is? Cause and effect. But if I ask myself the question, can there be a cause without effect? Can there? If you're not related to a cause, where's the effect going to lie? So you do away with your karma.
Right. Basically, you do away with everything, don't you? It's basically...
Everything is the low thing. Appearing to be different.
Yes.
Just take a sting out of it, because they still, the dream, the stories, the whole beautiful dreamy appearance still comes up, but it basically doesn't cause suffering.
Yes, that's the key.
As you just said, you do away with everything.
Mm.
What are you left with? The no thing, the cognizing emptiness, which is formless.
Yes.
So we never moved away from it.
No.
We fail to recognize it. And that's what he's having, the cognizing emptiness, lose sight of it, recognize, recognize it. Recognize that I am already that. And that is absolute. What can you add to the absolute? Nothing at all. It wouldn't be absolute. What can you take away from it? Nothing. So I'm already that absolute. But nothing can be added to it. Nothing can be taken away. They call it the great perfection. But perfection is the same as the absolute. What can you add to the perfect? Nothing. What can you take away? Nothing. And they give it in one sentence. The great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. You're not unaware right now, so you must be aware. Without putting any concepts, words, thoughts, ideas that on it, what you are. What I am, not the body, not the mind. I am this sense of presence, pure intelligent energy, the activity of knowing, being, knowing, and loving to be.
Again, beautifully put it. I think part of the problem is that the mind is addicted to complexity, and there's nothing simpler than just simply being what you already are.
Beautiful.
Yeah, simple is the key word, the simplicity. There's such an elegance in that simplicity. Still miraculously, beautifully complex, but the base is so simple. When I hear that word from people, oh, but this is too simple. Nothing simpler than one.
Yes. It's not even one.
Not even
right.
One. Yeah.
So true. So, Kat, is there anything else you wanted to add or that you'd like us to discuss?
I was actually thinking that you're going to be talking about Rhonda and the book.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I found it really, I mean, I only remember briefly when she came about 5 years ago. I opened the door and ran upstairs to leave them some space. But then the book came, which was really a nice surprise. Although I did like The Secret too. I did. I mean, I was really young when I saw it.
Yes.
Quite amazing. But yes, it had one focus on the desires. And here she shifted everything to the awareness, which is very elegant. And she did it in a beautiful, very approachable way, using the bridge word, your awareness.
Yes.
Because awareness doesn't belong to you if there is no you, obviously. But it doesn't belong to anything. It just is. It is what is. But it is a bridge word which kind of brings people accustomed to secret and to my own power or creation into stepping back from wanting and desiring what isn't to just recognizing and appreciating what is.
Yes.
I think she's done quite well with that.
Oh, I agree. I mean, Rhonda is very good at taking ideas that ordinarily would only be interesting to a very small group of people and talking in a way that appeals to a mass consciousness.
Yeah.
And I am really grateful for that. In our courses that we teach and in our retreats, there are many people who were just only interested in more and thinking they'd find happiness or truth in just doing what wasn't working more. And Rhonda taking this on and trying to explain it in a more accessible way, I think has been a great service. And I was thrilled that Sarah Bob was in it. I knew many of the teachers in the book, and I was really happy that they were part of the book. Someone who I'm my wife and I are we're very close to when he was alive and really love. They were trying to have a Robert Adams in the book, but they couldn't get permission. And this kind of a personal aside for me is that I think I was very involved with Lester. I'm still involved with his teachings. And when Lester passed, within a few months, I met Robert Adams. And so I spent a lot of time with him, and his teachings are just they're so similar to yours, Bob. And they're so similar to they were so complementary of what I was already studying. But then what happened after that is, and we spent a lot of time at the end of his life. What happened after that is, after Robert passed, then I within a few months I heard about Sailor Bob. So I went from Robert Adams to Sailor Bob Adamson.
Yeah, Robert Adams plus 2 letters, Robert Adamson. Yeah.
It's interesting how it all works.
It is.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. How can you not love the beautiful stories we have about that miraculous dreams?
Yes,
when
yes,
you
yes.
know they are stories,
yes,
you
yes,
can love them unconditionally without being swayed by them or hurt by them.
Or lost in them, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all different expressions of that.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Beautiful expressions of that.
Yeah, I love your story with Lester as well. It's a gorgeous story. And also when what you told us, the first chat we had, and the story how actually we heard about you and how we got our best friend moving to Australia. She learned about Bob from you.
Yes, yes.
And I love the story we have, how the world, me being on the other side of the world and half Bob's age actually brought me to him too. All those stories are just magnificent expressions. Just like beautiful poetry, beautiful painting, beautiful sunset.
Yes.
Yes. Gorgeous dream.
It is a gorgeous dream.
And none of it is true, and so what? That makes it even more beautiful, because not only they're not true, but also they're not lasting. So
yes,
you can love them quickly right now, they're not gonna last, they're not gonna be here long.
The amazing and wonderful ways this life can express.
Mm.
Yes.
All the different patterns, shapes and forms. Still only the one. And that is all there is.
Yes.
The thing I've noticed that often people have struggle with is when they hear Bob, okay, yes, I'm not unaware, okay, I'm that, okay, I can say that, but hey, that's not good enough.
Right.
Where is my ecstasy? Where is
right.
Where is my eternal orgasm in which I have no more desires? There's still wanting showing up. There's still hunger. There is still need to pay the bills. Like that's not good. That's not why people would rise the big temples and worship gods. There must be something more, must be something better. So with this, what you pointed earlier, the simplicity, finding relaxing in that uncontrived singularity and staying in that simplicity, like discarding distractions, because obviously mind is such a creative source of entertainment. Being and resting in the being, for the mind, there's nothing there, it's boring. Give me some nice dream about Copacabana Beach or whatever, or give me some nice drama, oh, my neighbors don't like me. That's more entertaining, that's more distressing. And of course, the whole survival system is wired to prevent danger. So attention goes straight into that entertainment source, overlooking or ignoring that beautiful fountain of aliveness that would be available there as bliss, if you only reduce the distractions or just basically take a little bit importance out of the distractions. Yes, distractions are there, dramas are there, pleasures are there, yes, but how important are they? They're not, yes, they're relatively important in the moment. They may get a little bit of attention and get sorted. It happens without the narrative anyway, just like the heartbeat, just like breathing. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, this is important that I beat my heart. No, it happens. The same way feeding the body happens, looking after the body happens. It doesn't need to go into this narrative self that is constantly commenting on everything. That attention wasted in the commentary could be really resting in that heart of hearts and experiencing the deliciousness of plain pure existence, which is gorgeous.
I agree 100%. Yeah, there is this misconception that I love the way you said that it's supposed to feel like 1,000 orgasms every second. If it doesn't, then you missed it.
It's not it. Yeah, it's not it. I have to keep searching. I have to keep
right. But it isn't. It's so much simpler and more natural. And although there is this exquisite, simple beauty to it that even in its naturalness, but again, it includes everything else too. It's not one or the other.
Yeah, even in adversities, challenges, there is underlying stillness. You endure, you see the body and the mind enduring whatever the challenge is there. And underneath, I'll just switch it on.
Natural, just as in nature.
Yes.
Everything's functioning naturally, quite spontaneously and effortlessly in nature. That's what natural. We think it's something we've got to find.
Absolutely. Yeah, we think we're somehow separate from nature.
Yes, that's right. And that's what happened is down through the ages is so-called beings, or whatever we like to call it, patterns, shapes and forms that have expressed us. And others have heard what they've done. They set up the so-called one that passed it on as saints, sages, saviours or seers, and we've worshipped the messenger.
Right.
And ignored the message. The message is just this pattern, shape and form. It's going to break down there, but the message is the truth. And it's always and ever been that truth. And know the truth, and you try the truth through.
I like when you say, Bob, the messenger is just a mouthpiece.
Right.
So he is just a mouthpiece, but the message, it comes from the pure essence, pure like source of life, the intelligence. But it needs the mouthpiece, as it seems.
But the mouthpiece breaks down and it disappears, and some other mouthpiece picks it up.
It finds way to express itself. It expresses itself continuously through every bird singing, through the sun, through the clouds, even through the noise, even through so-called ugliness and violence, all of it. Because, you know, how would the dream be if there was no duality in it? Like there wouldn't be a day without the night. There wouldn't be a pleasure without pain. They have to arise interdependently. They depend on each other. The two ends of the stick. You have the stick, it needs two ends.
Yes. Here we're back to the stick.
Yeah.
Just recognise that persona is a fiction, there's nothing there. It's a so-called ego. There's nothing. You know that there's nothing here and there's nothing there. Who can ever be superior to you? And who can ever be inferior to you without a centre, without you relating to a centre? And what would you want of the other persons? All that disappears.
Yeah.
Everything becomes the one essence. This needs to pattern in different shapes and forms and discriminates just in the appearance, just to keep it seemingly going.
And we can see our cats, they don't hallucinate that narrative self in the mind. They don't hallucinate that there is any entity that is choosing the food or fighting. The two of them, so they often play. Sometimes they hiss at each other, they sleep together, they natural.
Yes.
And they behave as in nature, and they are such a wonderful demonstration of that natural state in which there is no desire, but the body still looks after itself. They're still meowing if they want a snack, and they still defend their territory, and they still do everything as they should. But the way humans hallucinate or imagine that there is something that is incomplete, that is deficient, that is unlovable, something there in me that is fake, they call it ego. And this thing has to be somehow, because there is a suffering. If I'm not good enough, of course, it doesn't feel good. So I have to add something to myself. And Bob has this beautiful description when he uses 3 words, like easy to remember. So the parents, the society, they teach me to add, accumulate, amass, AAA, add, accumulate, amass. The name, the fame, the money, the career, the relationship, all of it, I need to add because I feel so not good enough, so deficient, so empty, but it doesn't work. No matter, just like you mentioned before, that Rhonda came from the point of law of attraction, when you need to add, you keep desiring, bringing to yourself, manifesting, to just medicate, to sedate that sense of incompleteness and unworthiness. Yes. But it can be, frankly, you see through it and you see that, of course, it feels incomplete. There's nothing there. And if that phantom, that image, that costume of the ego is seen through, it disperses like a wind. And now the completeness is all there is. The sense of unworthiness is totally laughable. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
So I go when he goes.
Yeah. and in a way, it seems like, that imaginary phantom, that dreamy figure inside, the little dwarf or little controller inside, it brings about the quality of awakening, because you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. So the cognizing emptiness, or one could say the totality, expresses itself as the limited, just to experience the glimpses of its limitlessness from that limited perspective. So it seems like it is a part of this beautiful dance. Without it, I don't know. It doesn't seem like cats have full appreciation of their freedom from self, because they never had one.
Right.
In that, everything's perfect. It's just a recognition of perfection already present.
Yes, definitely. Well put. So, Bob, do you have anything else that comes to you as something that the mouthpiece wants to share?
There could probably be lots of things if I like to think about them.
You know what you could add? I love that one. He very rarely gives any advices, because there is no one to take the advice and no one to give it. But there is one very beautiful other three letters, the U, the unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected. This is the advice he gives to people who come troubled. What do I do? Leave it.
Leave it as it is. Is part of the verb to be also. So everything is as is. Not was, not will be, but just as it is right here, right now.
And as is means?
Unaltered, unmodified, uncorrected, no preference, no comparison, no partiality.
Just
beautiful.
And that's what space does. space doesn't do anything. It doesn't control, doesn't confine, doesn't argue with reality, doesn't go in conflict or resistance with reality. It holds everything indiscriminately. And we are that space. That's our essential nature. So
Yes.
be who you are, be like space, leave everything as it is, relax. Non-doership. Be who you are. That's what Nisargadatta was saying.
Yes, yes.
As if you have any choice, you only dream that you are not who you are.
Yes, absolutely. And Robert Adams used to say, all is well, and everything's unfolding exactly as it should be.
Oh yeah, Bob is using that phrase too. I don't know. I never heard of. I mean, I didn't study Robert Adams, but I heard that.
There's a Desiderata, I think that's right.
Oh yes, that's right. Desiderata, the Christian sort of
old English monk.
yeah,
No
from
doubt the
15th
world's
century.
unfolding as it goes through all the different things, and then that finishes with that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's a beautiful poetic sort of description.
Yes. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Sailor Bob and Kat Adamson. You can learn more about Bob and Kat at www.sailorBobAdamson.com. That's SAILORBOBADAMSON.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you can have immediate access to future episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating and share it with the people you care about. If you'd like to learn more about my work, my mentor Lester Levinson's work in the Sedona method, please visit www.sedona.com. As you explore our site, you learn the key to lasting happiness, success, peace, and emotional well-being. We have books, courses, events, and plenty of free material to explore. Again, go to sedona.com. That's SEDONA.com. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Letting Go and the Greatest Secret.